Welcome to Judge Tammy's incredible courtroom, where the truth is unveiled and justice is delivered. Judge Tammi is a seasoned and respected jurist. She presides over civil and criminal cases with unwavering fairness and integrity.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true?
Yes.
All right, you can put your hand down. Miss Tricia Sherelle Clark, you were before this court on October 9th of 2023 for DUI less safe and improper lane change. You're represented by the law firm of Lister, Holt, and Dennis, and you're before the court for a revocation of probation. Ms. Chang? Oh, Mr. Austin, you're okay.
Yes.
All right. So, ma'am, you have 10 months. You were sentenced to 12 months on probation. You have 10 months and 17 days remaining. And it says that you failed to avoid injurious and vicious habits. You tested positive for alcohol on October 17th of 2023 at the probation office. Right. Ms. Hahn?
Yes, Your Honor. So Ms. Clark went to test, I guess, was it like within a week of her being sentenced. She did tell me that she told probation that she would likely test positive. She took the test, it left, and obviously had no idea that she had a warrant. She said otherwise she would have just turned herself in. She has been going to AA meetings. She does have a sponsor. Her name is Miss Marsha. It's at Living Sober. But I know that Mr. Austin has given a recommendation that we are asking the court to accept. But Ms. Clark is committed to staying sober, and she's been going to meetings.
Ms. Clark, how old are you, ma'am?
38.
So, Ms. Clark, for you to have a problem with alcohol at this age suggests to me that you have some underlying issues that you're trying to cope with alcohol. I applaud you going to AA meetings. I think that's amazing, and you should continue to go. But ma'am, you should also look for a counselor to deal with the underlying issues, so that alcohol is not such that you don't reach for that as a coping mechanism. Okay. And I say that to everybody got something. Robert Roberts, I think, says that everybody's got something. So all of us have gone through something in life that is a challenge for us on an ongoing basis. And what I suggest to you is you're doing the right thing by going to AA meetings, but you also want to address whatever that underlying cause is that's causing you to seek alcohol as a coping mechanism. Okay. All right. If you, I guess you can ask your probation officer if they can suggest any counseling services that we may have in Clayton County. They may have a list of places, and then some that might be income graduated if that is a concern for you. Okay. All right. So, Mr. Austin, what's the recommendation for Ms. Clark?
Your Honor, the defendant has been in custody now since November 13th. So credit for time served, return back to probation, continue to go to AA, NA meetings, and be drug screened every report going forward.
Okay, so I have credit for time served, continue AA meetings and show proof.
Yes, Your Honor.
Drug screen at each report.
That's correct.
Okay, so Ms. Clark, I'm going to follow the recommendation. Like I said, I'm applauding you going to AA, getting your sponsor, working with that sponsor. That is not an easy road, and so you've taken those first steps. But I also say that you kind of need that other piece to kind of address whatever the underlying issue is. Okay.
And I
All
have
right.
paperwork that shows that I've been going to AA meetings and my community service.
Okay, no, I'm not arguing that you've not been going. I'm just saying that if you tested, we do need to address that. But I'm going to go ahead and return you to probation, okay?
Yeah, Your Honor, can I add that for her to report on Monday, November 27th?
Okay, so you'll be able to report on Monday, November 27th. You'll have the opportunity to have Thanksgiving with your family, okay, ma'am? All right. So let me just type this up and I'll send it over.
Thank you,
Thank
Your
you,
Honor.
You're welcome.
Gooch?
Yes, ma'am.
You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can put your hand down. So, Ms. Gooch, you're before the court on Chandra Jasmine Gooch, 2022 CR 02336 for a case that was closed on June 27, 2023. You were before this court for, battery, family violence, and criminal trespass with damage. You're represented by the law firm of Lister, Holt, and Dennis, and you're before this court for a probation revocation hearing. You have 6 months and 4 days remaining on probation. Your sentence was told because we lost track of you, and you failed to report on July 5th, 2023, July 10th, and within 10 days of July 23rd, 2023. You have never reported to probation. You failed to attend NA and AA meetings as ordered. You failed to comply with counseling, and you failed to pay your $250 in arrears. So this was the 27th day of June of 2023. Ms. Gooch, and it seems like you haven't done anything that the court requested. Ms. Hahn?
Your Honor, Ms. Gooch, and I had a conversation and she explained to me that she is battling addiction. She's kind of in the throes of it right now, and that's why she hasn't reported. She immediately came to me and said, "You're right, I didn't report. I admit to that."
Ms.
I've
Gooch
just
has
been
been here
struggling.
before.
Yeah. And I think she's kind of explained to me that she's at the point where she's kind of desperate for help. One of the first things she said is, can they send me to something inpatient for rehab? I explained to her that I'm not sure that Clayton has the resources to do that through the courts, but she's at the point where she's just kind of desperate for help. But that's why we're here, and she wants to accept probation's recommendation.
Okay, what's the recommendation?
Your Honor, it was 60 days to serve and close this case out.
All right. Ms. Hahn, the only advice I have for you is that the drug court upstairs and the felony drug court may have some resources that they could provide to Ms. Gooch once she gets out, that may be of assistance to her. Otherwise, we don't really have that yet, state court wide. So if you reach out to the drug court coordinator, they may be able to assist you with that, and that's information that you could provide to Ms. Gooch. So the court is going to accept the recommendation and revoke 60 days. Upon completion of the 60 days in custody, Ms. Gooch's case will be closed and she'll be released. But like I said, but within those 60 days, Ms. Hahn, if you will check with the DUI coordinator, with the drug court coordinator upstairs, they may be able to help Ms. Gooch find some resources.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Right. You're welcome. Ms. Gooch, asking for help is the first step, ma'am. And so I'm hoping that you will be able to get that so that you can get your life back on track, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I get time.
Are we dealing with MAP?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, now what is it we want to do with MAP?
Your Honor, I just wanted to see if you'd be willing to hear a bond modification in this case today. If the state's ready or not.
Okay, what's the state's position on that? Because usually we give them a little bit of heads up.
Yeah, Your Honor. I just briefly looked at the file, but I don't even know what the request for the modification would be.
It'd be to be released on an
Oh, no. To do what? Did we lose a judge? No, she's still there.
I don't know if we did or not.
I'm here.
Your Honor, how do I say this? Your Honor, I have slight concerns, well, not slight concerns over how Miss Mapp's mental state is going on while she continues to reside in the jail. Upon speaking with her are my concerns, which is why I felt it might be better for her to be released, as she does want to fight her case.
Released to whom and to where? Because if she's suffering in the jail, then if she doesn't have care or stability outside the jail, that's not going to contribute to her being able to assist with her defense.
Give me 1 second, Your Honor.
Now that part you should have already been able to tell me. Come on now, you know me. Okay, did anybody ever figure out who Derek's iPhone is?
Are you able to unmute him, Judge? I don't think he understands the how to work the Zoom.
Honestly, I
can ask him to unmute, but I can't like actually unmute him. So yes, Miss Mapp. Unmute Miss Mapp. Let me hear from her. If that's okay with her attorney. Yes, ma'am.
please and thank you. So yes, I'm the only person that's on a lease, but I do have my uncle at my residence. He needed somewhere to stay, so I allowed him to stay with me. I am not concerned about my mental health because I am more like concerned about me more than anyone else. Like I care for myself. I care for myself mentally, and I care that I'm healthy. But the conditions that I'm suffering here in, I am more concerned more about. Like I've already been I live in a cell where there's feces on the toilet stall. I'm being fed twice a day. The room is very unsanitized. There's dirt everywhere around the cell. So it's like the conditions that I'm living in. I live in a better condition. I live at my home and I am not concerned mentally. But if you guys are concerned, I'm also currently not taking any medication here at the detention center.
Do you
So
have a doctor that you follow up with and have medication prescribed for somebody outside the jail?
I have been seen by a doctor, but they haven't they did not request ongoing treatment. So I have been seen for my mental health, but I have not needed any care, ongoing care.
How old are you, Miss Mapp?
I'm 31.
Okay. And have you lived independently always?
Yes, ever since I was 18, I went across seas to college, and I stayed in a dorm room by myself. And then once I got my bachelor's degree, I moved back to America, and I lived in a studio apartment with me and my cat.
Okay. So where did you go to school?
I went to school at Mankato University.
Where's that?
That's Central America, Belize.
Okay. All right. Did you have family in Belize?
Yes, I have family in Belize. I have a sister.
Okay. All right. So the uncle that is staying with you, I'm just trying to get a sense of who's the alleged victim in this case.
Well,
Not you, Miss Mapp. Let me hear from your attorney. But thank you.
You're welcome.
My understanding is correct. It's just a random bystander in a restaurant that I believe she doesn't have any connection to.
Ms. John VA.
So, Your Honor, as far as this modification, I mean, the state would object to the modification. It doesn't appear, based on the defendant's testimony at this point, that there are any mental health concerns that I'm hearing. And the random person was at the Waffle House, and she had already they had locked her out because of how she had try to come into the Waffle House that night. So they had locked themselves inside away from her and were waiting for the police to come. And then the other person stepped outside, and then she just harassed her, and then she spat on her. So yeah.
Which is not true. So
I know it's allegations. It's not proven. I get that, Ms. Gooch, but I have to balance my concern for you in the jail, which I do have a concern for you in the jail. Things are getting worse daily, with the ability to stay safe on the outside, I guess I would say. How long has Miss Mapp been in jail?
Since October 12th, Your Honor.
Well, I would like for Miss Mapp to get out of jail. I have concern. What's her bond?
Give me a second, Your Honor.
Yes, two, Your Honor. So just two cases. So for the criminal trespass, I believe the bond was $500, and for this second case, it was $2,000. Yes, so $500 for the criminal trespass, and
Miss Mapp, this uncle, he's not able to get you out on bond.
He's really going through something financially, which is why he's at my place. Well, because he doesn't have the finances to properly take care of himself, and I don't want to say that, but he can't really help, himself in a living situation where he needed my help. I also have to pay rent, so I don't want to be, evicted. But
I got you. Where have you been working?
I work at the Dollar Tree, and yeah, I just don't want to get more. I don't want to deal with more problems that I would have if I stay the 90 or the 60 days. And then also, I feel like it's a great opportunity that I could allow the state, not just the state, but the government, to prove itself that it does represent I would say I'm an inmate, but it does represent inmates with justice, because he will defend me and he will find the video footage, if there is any, that to prove or not to prove what they are claiming against me. So I want to support the government and saying that they do give us a fair chance to be represented by a public defender, although it's not a paid attorney. And I was really surprised that I had that option. But with that option, I don't know, I just don't know how long it would take. And I really had to pay my rent in order for me not to be evicted.
Okay. Mr. White, so what you're saying is that Ms. Mapp wishes to enter a plea of not guilty and go to trial on both cases?
Correct, Your Honor.
All right. The only thing that gives me pause, Ms. Mapp represents herself very well, but the only thing that gives me pause is the nature of the charge, where the victim was kind of random, and whatever that situation is that is alleged, that, and the fact that we have another criminal trespass charge. So that tells me that there might be an issue of impulse control if these things were found to be true. And to let Miss Map out pending trial, if there is in fact an impulse control issue, may just be setting her up for failure.
Is it okay if I speak, please?
Sure.
Okay, so yes, it was random, and as it is.
Then I don't want you to tell me, because I don't want you to mess up your defense, and I don't want you to
Okay, thank you.
tie Mr. White's hands behind his back in trying to assist you. Okay.
Yeah, also, and Your Honor, we're with this one, I just noticed as well that Miss Mapp has multiple aliases. So I see 2 additional ones in addition to Dominique Mapp. It's like a Delilah Williams, Delilah, maybe.
Yeah. At this time, Mr. White, it's gonna be a no.
I did change my name.
Hold up.
So, and I'm
No,
married.
hold on, ma'am. At this time, Mr. White, it's gonna be a no. So I'll take a plea if she wants to. I'll take the plea of not guilty if she wants to. But at this time, I can't do an unsecured judicial release.
Yes, Your Honor.
So is she entering a not guilty plea?
Well, I think I'll need to talk to her about that quickly, Your Honor.
Okay. Who's next?
Latia Mayo, Your Honor.
All right.
No, there's a thing.
Ms. Mayo, raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes, ma'am.
You
Yes,
can
Your
put
Honor.
You can put your hand down, ma'am. You're before the court on 2 cases. First is 2023 CR 09980 for obstruction of an officer and interference with custody. On case 2, it's 2023 CR 09982, battery count 1, simple battery count 2, criminal trespass count 3, obstruction of an officer count 4, and giving false name, address, or date of birth count 5. You're represented by Attorney Chelsea Hahn, who's with you. Ms. Hahn, what is your client plead to the offenses before the court?
Yes, Your Honor. On case ending in 980, she would like to plead no load to count 1 and count 2. And for case ending in 982, she would like to plead no load to count 1, count 3, count 4, and count 5.
All right, so Ms. Mayo, by entering a plea of no load to count 1 and 2 on case 2023 CR 09980, and by entering a plea of no load to counts 1, 3, 4, and 5 on the case 2023 CR 09982, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things, ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Factual basis and recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. For the case ending in 09980, on October the 5th of 2023, an officer was dispatched to 9862 Braxley, Braxley Way in Jonesboro, Georgia, where the incident occurred in Clayton County. At that time, the officer made contact with the victim, Miss Keisha Floyd, and who advised that the defendant, Miss Mayo, was babysitting and then took one of their children without their permission. Apparently, she'd asked if she could leave with them, and they told her no. She left anyway with the child. At that time, the officer was able to make contact with the defendant's mother, who tried to call the defendant. The officer did speak with the defendant, and she advised that she was driving back to the location, and the officer observed her arrive in the vehicle and observed the defendant in the back seat of the vehicle with the juvenile wrapped in her arms. She was the child was given to the parent. The defendant was taken into custody, Your Honor. The state is recommending for count 1 a $300 fine to be suspended. Count 2, 12 months to serve, 90 days. The balance to be probated. A mental health evaluation, $200 fine to be suspended, and no contact with the victims.
How did you know them other than babysitting for them?
Not clear on their relationship. Your Honor.
What name the victims again for?
Keisha Floyd. I don't have the juvenile's name, but Keisha Floyd is the mother that was listed. KEISHAFLOYD.
All right. All right. And the next case? Next case, Ms. Johnson?
On August 7th of 2023, an officer was dispatched to 111 Indian Lake Drive, and that's Morrow, Georgia. The officer was, the incident occurred in Clayton County. The officer was dispatched because of a domestic disturbance. At that time, the officer made contact with a Mr. Gregory Nichols, who was a victim in this case. He advised that Miss Mayo had spent the night with him, and they got into an argument at some point during her stay, and he asked her to leave, and she said she would not leave unless he provided a way for her to get home. At that time, the victim refused, and when the victim refused to take her, provide a way for her home, she proceeded to strike him in the head and face, with causing a minor laceration to his ear. She also flipped over furniture and threw dishes, causing a mess in the home. The officer observed these things. Additionally, Ms. Mayo confirmed the victim's account of the incident, and Ms. Mayo was taken. Oh, excuse me, one more thing here. When the officer attempted to obtain Ms. Mayo's information, she advised that her name was Tia Hunter and that she was born on January the 10th of 1999. And she was taken into custody. The state is recommending 12 months to serve, 90 days, the balance to be probated, mental health evaluation, and a do not return to the location and stay away from the victim, Mr. Gregory Nichols. And this would run concurrent with the case ending in 09980. Count 2 would merge count 3, 12 months to serve, 90 days, the balance to be suspended, to run concurrent with count 1. Count 4, $300 fine suspended. Count 5, 12 months to serve, 90 days, concurrent with count 1. The balance to be suspended pending no new violations of the law.
Ms. Hahn?
So, Your Honor, Ms. Mayo, well, so on the first case, Ms. Mayo contends that statements of facts is completely incorrect. She wants Your Honor to be aware that she did not take the child that day without permission from the child's father. That's who she was taking, I guess, direction from on that day. And so that's hence the NOLO plea. So, and I think Your Honor had asked what the relationship was other than babysitting. I believe it was just a babysitting relationship with the couple. And then on the second case, the alleged victim was I guess a boyfriend. Should I call him a boyfriend?
You don't, no, not really, because I never said yes.
Oh, okay. So they had, I guess, somewhat of a romantic relationship, and then the name that she had given the officers on that day, she was adopted, so that was a true name, but it just wasn't the name that I guess she had on her paperwork. So she does want the court to know that.
All right. So Ms. Mayo, on the case ending in 09980, I'll accept your plea of NOLO to counts 1 and 2. I'll sentence you on count 1 to pay a fine in the amount of $300 that will be suspended. Count 2 is 12 months to serve 90 days. Balance will be probated for you to take a mental health evaluation and pay a fine in the amount of $200. That fine will be suspended as long as you take the mental health evaluation and you have no contact with Keisha Floyd or the minor child of Keisha Floyd. Minor children of Keisha Floyd. On the case ending in 09982, I'm going to count 1. It's 12 months to serve 90 days, balance probated for you to take a mental health evaluation and do not go back to 111 Indian Lake Road, Morrow, Georgia, Clayton County, and have no contact with Gregory Nichols. Count 2 will merge. Count 3, 12 months to serve 90 days, balance suspended as long as you have no new violations of the laws of the state of Georgia. Count 3, $300 fine suspended, and count 4, $300 fine suspended, and count 5, 12 months to serve 90 days. Balance will be suspended as long as you have no violations of the laws of Georgia. Counts 5, 4, and 3 will run concurrent with count 1, and all of the cases, all of the sentences in count in the case ending in 09982 will run concurrent with the case 2023 CR 09980.
And
All right.
we're asking if Your Honor would waive probation fees because Miss.
I will. Supervision fees may be waived.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. All right, next. All right, who's next?
Your Honor, Miss Mapp is ready to enter a NOLO plea.
All right, bring Miss Mapp up. Miss Mapp, raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true?
Yes.
All right, you can put your hand down. Miss Mapp, you're before the court on 2 cases, 2023 CR 09976 for simple assault. You're entering a plea of NOLO. Per your attorney, Mr. Justin White of the law firm of Lister, Holt and Dennis. On case 2023 CR 09977 for criminal trespass, Mr. White has indicated you're also entering a plea of NOLO to that offense. By entering a plea of NOLO to count to each count on these cases, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Factual basis and recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. On September 23rd of 2023, an officer was dispatched to 6331 Terra Boulevard in Jonesboro, Georgia, where the incident occurred in Clayton County. This location was a Texaco gas station. Upon the officer's arrival, he made contact with the store clerk, who advised that the defendant, Ms. Mapp, had been previously given a criminal trespass warning, was not to be at the location, and that when she arrived on that day, he called the police because she was not supposed to be there. The police did locate Ms. Mapp. Ms. Mapp advised she didn't know that she was not allowed to be there, and asked to be released because she had left her daughter at her residence in Riverdale. The defendant was taken into custody. The state is recommending 12 months to serve, 60 days, the balance to be suspended, the do not return, and a stay away from the Texaco located at 6331 Terra Boulevard, Jonesboro, Georgia. Did I give you the case number, Your Honor? I apologize. That was the case number ending in 09977.
And how much is she? Is it credit for time served, or is it
No,
she's
no, she's no, Your Honor.
oh, so since lockup?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
And for the case ending in 09976, on October the 12th of 2023, an officer was dispatched to 6350 Terra Boulevard in Jonesboro, Georgia, where the incident occurred in Clayton County. This was a Waffle House in which the officer was responding as the victim, Miss Megan McCrae, advised that the defendant, Miss Mapp, had come to the restaurant. She was trying to come in. She didn't have shoes on. The staff advised her she was not allowed inside. She began screaming and banging on the door, such as the employees then locked the door and called the police at this time. While the employees were waiting for the police to arrive, Miss McCrae stepped outside to smoke a cigarette in the back side of the restaurant. The defendant then came around to that side and began yelling at the victim, and then walked towards her, continued to be arguing with her, calling her different names. She then bent over, and then they observed that she had her hand inside her purse, didn't know what she had inside her purse, but she was stating that y'all are gonna die. She then became physical with the victim and chest bumped her, and then she spat in her face. And the officer did observe this on the surveillance camera for the location. At that time, once the defendant spat in the victim's face, the victim pushed her away, and then a fight ensued at that point. The defendant was taken into custody. The state is recommending 12 months to serve, 90 days, the balance to be suspended with a do not return to the Waffle House location, and no contact with the victim, Miss Megan McCrary, McCrary. And that is to run concurrent with the case ending in 09977.
All right. Mr. White?
No, we just ask that you accept the negotiated, please.
All right, on the case 2023 CR 09976, simple assault, the sentence is 12 months to serve 90 days. Balance will be suspended as long as as long as the defendant does not go back to the Waffle House. let's just make it simple, any Waffle House in Clayton County and has no contact with Megan McCrae. That will run concurrent with the sentencing case 2023 CR 0009977. In that case, defendant is sentenced to 12 months to serve 60 days. On both cases, credit since the date of lockup. Balance will be suspended as long as she does not go back to the incident location. All right.
And I just need to make one correction, Your Honor. We did agree on 60 days. 90 was the original.
Okay,
For
so
both.
60 days in both cases, Ms. Harvey,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So to repeat the case, the case 2023 CR 09976 is 12 months to serve 60 days, balance suspended, credit since the date of lockup, and she's not to go back to any Walmart in Clayton County and have no contact with Megan McCrae. All right. All right, Miss.
Excuse me, what is the release date?
I'm not sure, Miss Mapp. Somebody else is going to have to calculate that. And sometimes even when I calculate it, the sheriff's office controls when you get out. So, and how much good time you get or how they count the time. So they may give you extra time that I can't account for, meaning you may get out quicker than I would be able to tell you.
You get out no later than December. But you may-
Yeah, you may get out earlier than that.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, who's next? Is Luckett even in the court, in the jail?
Are they allowed to take a call?
Because I have Luckett
No,
was released.
Lucky's
Okay, so
released.
Luckett's out. And let's see.
We need to get a clear understanding about Clark, because
Okay, Nichols should not be in jail either. Is Nichols still in the jail?
Nichols out was released.
Okay, good. And Clark. My understanding is Clark got sentenced, but she paid her fines and fees in full for the SSD.
Okay. That was an old SSD. That was from September 2022, and she paid in full on September 30th of 2022.
All right.
It was not an arrest warrant for that separate incident, separate case rather.
Okay, but
All
she's
right.
on for probation. She's not on for our SSD.
No, I'm saying it showed up as an SSD on my calendar. And no, I'm sorry, it was probation and an SSD. So I
Okay.
just asked that they check to make sure that the SSD wasn't pending so I could modify it while I was doing this.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so I just wanted to make sure I didn't leave anything on the table once I finished with her case. So I have outstanding Corday, Bell, Holland, Pendleton, and Weems. Mr. White, did we make a decision in Dickerson?
Your Honor, that was a not guilty plea.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't write it down. All right, so the arraignment calendar is done. And who's next on the jail calendar?
Armstrong, Your Honor.
All right, Derek Corday Armstrong.
B. Jones is getting him. Who is second?
Yeah,
All right. Yes,
you gonna be in the courtroom with your presence anytime soon?
why?
Huh?
As soon as I can, why?
I was just asking. I just haven't seen you in person in a while.
What you trying to say, Jones?
Nothing. I'm just saying.
I will, Jones. I just try not to stress. I do a lot from my office or from video because I try not to stress. I know I'm still under the impression that a lot of the functions in the courthouse are still understaffed, particularly the jail function. So I don't like to be in there where you got to divide your time between the defendants and me.
I got you. I understand.
Because y'all won't let me bring my own stuff into there. So
Now I can find out if we can change that now.
I'm messing with you. All right. So Derek Corday Armstrong, Mr. Armstrong, this is a petition And your case was tried and concluded on May 24th of 2023. Let me pull up your petition. Raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony that you give in this matter will be true?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So, Mr. Armstrong, I have that you were, before this court, convicted of DUI, alcohol less safe, and following too close on the 24th day of May 2023. You were sentenced to 21 months on probation. And you have 4 months and 19 days on the first probation and 12 months on the consecutive remaining. Your sentence was told, and this is your second hearing. You failed to report on September 11th, September 14th, September 18th, and September 29th of 2023. You last reported on July 18th of 2023. You failed to complete an alcohol and drug evaluation. So you failed to provide a clinical drug and alcohol evaluation as recommended by probation. You failed to complete your DUI school risk reduction course. You failed to comply with counseling. You failed to show that you have attended one AA meeting per week. You failed to comply with drug screens. You failed to obtain get your random alcohol and drug screens as ordered. You failed to complete community service. You had 80 hours of community service to complete. You failed to do any of them, and you failed to pay. Mr. White, on behalf of Mr. Armstrong, what could you possibly say, sir?
Your Honor, Mr. Armstrong, not to offer this as an excuse, but just to explain, Mr. Armstrong has been looking, he's been out of a job since he had those trials. He did get a recent job that he was supposed to start on the 13th, but of course he unfortunately was locked up. So he's not had money to start any of these things. He's also lost.
He didn't have money to start coming to his reports?
Your Honor, with regards to that, he lost contact with his phone and with his car, said he couldn't get here. But once again, I'm not offering that as an excuse.
You can't, because Marta runs right outside the building. And I had a probationer who actually walked to come to his probation reports, like from Stockbridge.
Yes, Your Honor.
So after that, can't nobody tell me too much about how they can't get here. All right. What's the recommendation this case?
Your Honor, the recommendation is 120 days to serve and close this case.
Oh, that sounds about right. All right. Mr. White, anything else on behalf of Mr. Armstrong?
No, Your Honor. We just asked
Miss-
you to accept probation.
Mr. Armstrong, let me talk to you for a minute.
Yes,
Sir, you keep messing up.
I strongly apologize. I was on the right path. I was doing right. It was just like, I was trying to get a job very bad to be able to pay for the stuff. I did go to the places where I had to pay for the stuff here, but they said I had to pay right then, and I didn't have it, so I had to leave from them.
I got that, Mr. Armstrong, but the most important part, and I tell everybody this, is to report. The quickest way to get rearrested is to not report to your probation. And I don't think this is your first rodeo with respect to probation, so you know what the drill is.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm not missing that. I know you know. So yeah, 120 days, Mr. Armstrong. So after the 120 days, are we cutting him loose? What's after that?
Your Honor, yes, that would conclude probation after the service of the 120 days.
Till after probation. Yeah, I still have it.
All right, Mr. Armstrong, how old are you, sir?
36.
Mr. Armstrong, you're 36. Life comes at you fast. You gonna waste the rest of your life doing foolishness like this? I'm just asking, because I mean, it's not gonna make a difference to me unless you get behind the wheel of a car, intoxicated, which is why you're here. But what I'm asking is because you got a whole life to live. You're 36 years old. That's prime. You gonna waste the rest of it?
No, ma'am.
Because it sounds like you're well on your way to doing that.
I promise you on that. Get out here and do the right
I'm
thing.
just saying, you're gonna have 120 days to think about it.
That's right. I think that's long enough, man. I get out of here, I'm gonna be very successful when I get out. I'm gonna be on the right path. I'm gonna take care of my business, be very responsible.
You got 120 days to figure it out.
All right. But I pay it fees and stuff.
All right, so Mr. Armstrong, I'm going to revoke 120 days after service of 120 days in the Clayton County Jail. Your case shall be closed.
All right, thank you, man.
All right, sir. Be better. All right, I'm sending it over.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome, Mr. Austin. All right, who's next?
Marcel Bell, you're
Mr. Bell? Raise your right hand for me, sir.
right. Okay. Oh, you did? Okay.
Raise your right hand for me, Mr. Bell. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
All right, you can put your hand down. You're before the court on 2023 CR 09985 for theft by shoplifting, Marcel Azel Bell. You're also before this court on 2023 CR 09986 for obstruction of an officer, count 1, driving on a suspended or revoked license, count 2, no license, count 3, and defective equipment, count 4. Mr. White, your attorney is representing you and he's here with you. Mr. White, what does Mr. Bell plead to the offense on the first case ending in 985?
Your Honor, guilty.
On the second case ending in 986?
Your Honor, he's pleading nolo to the suspended license charge. The other 3 charges are to be no for us.
All right. So by entering a plea of nolo to count 2, and counts 1, 3, and 4 will be no pros on case 986, and by entering a plea of guilty on case ending in 985, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things? Mr. Bell?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Factual basis and recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. For the case ending in 09986, on Saturday, June the 11th of 2022, an officer was on duty at Roy Huey Road, Huie, and Johnson Road in Riverdale, Georgia. where the incident occurred in Clayton County. At that time, the officer observed a motor vehicle being operated by the defendant, Mr. Bell, with no state tag, and additionally no working rear tail lights. At that time, the officer initiated a traffic stop. He made contact with the defendant at that time, determined to be Marcel Bell through a GCIC check. Actually, one moment, Your Honor. Yes, okay. That's interesting. Okay, so it was determined that Mr. Bell was operating the motor vehicle and his license was suspended. The state is recommending for count 1 to be no pros, count 2, 12 months to serve, 10 days, and the balance to be suspended, no new violations of the law, and for the defendant to receive credit for time served, as he has been in custody since October the 11th, for count 3 to be no pros and count 4 to be no pros. For the case ending in 09985, on December the 17th of 2022, an officer responded to 5310 Old Dixie Road. It's a Dixie package store where the incident occurred in Clayton County. At that time, when the officer arrived on the scene, he was advised by the owner that a black male, later identified as the defendant, Mr. Bell, had entered the store and taken a bottle of tequila and left the store in a vehicle, gold Cadillac. The officer was able to observe the store's surveillance camera, and additionally to the information provided of the vehicle, I was able to do a vehicle tag check through GCIC and locate the defendant, Mr. Bell. Mr. Bell was taken into custody. The state is recommending 12 months to serve, 30 days, the balance to be suspended. No new violations of the law. Do not return to the 5310 Old Dixie Road, Forest Park, Georgia.
All right. Mr. White, anything on behalf of Mr. Bell?
Your Honor, we just ask that you accept the negotiated plea.
Mr. Bell, how old are you?
I'm 32, ma'am.
Okay, at 32. Now, come on, walking into a liquor store and picking up a bottle and just stealing, that's some ridiculousness. Just utter foolishness.
It was. I got frustrated that day, and I ain't gonna lie, I was under influence, but if you can picture that, me just under influence, and I just gave up. I just gave up and just.
Okay, so Mr. Bell, you're 32 years old. What you plan on doing with your life? Because if you gonna go ahead and victimize somebody else because you frustrated, so you figure I'm gonna just go in here and take it from the package store. That ain't gonna hurt nobody. Well, there's people who own the package store have to pay for all of that stuff. Number one, and number two, running around with your car with nothing going on with your car, right? No license, no tag, all of that. Come on, when you planning to get your life together, sir?
You sound just like my mother, for real.
Because I am a mother of sons, and because I know that this world is not easy on young Black men. And so you sitting up here making it hard on yourself. I sound like your mother because she has the same concerns for you that I do. So I'm asking you at 32 years old, where you're well past the point of in your 20s where we make bad decisions, you 30 something years old, When you gonna start turning your life around and making something of yourself?
This my last stop. I do got a plan that in effect. Like, I got my own company too, but it just ain't been off the ground. But
well, listen to me, because everybody got their own company. But what I suggest is that you do what successful people do. You work for somebody else and build your company on the side until you have enough money and enough status in your company to move to that. So all this, I got my own company, but I can't work for nobody else. I don't understand y'all millennials, because money is money, and honest money is good money. And if you can work for somebody else while you build your company, then that tells you a lot about your character and how successful you will be as a business owner. Everybody want to have a business, but don't nobody know nothing about quarterly taxes. You know, you got to pay taxes quarterly as a business owner. Since you're looking at me like that never occurred to you. There's a lot to understand about owning a business, but if you work with somebody else, maybe you can learn that and pick it up along the way. But all these folk who say, well, I got a plan. Well, everybody got a plan. Shoot, Muhammad Ali said everybody got a plan until you get hit in the mouth. Come on now. Life right now is hitting you in the mouth. You got to get it together. We clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Because I don't want to see you back here, Mr. Bell. This is stupid stuff. This is stuff I expect from 19-year-olds, 18-year-olds, 17-year-olds, not from somebody who's 32. How many kids you got?
I got one, ma'am.
Okay, that child deserves more. That child deserves a father who is doing something with his life. That child deserves a father who is taking care of him, not only financially, but emotionally too. Don't be that person, Mr. Bell. The statistics show that African-American fathers are some of the most involved men in their children's lives. Don't be the person that disproves that. You understand?
Yes,
even if somebody wasn't there for you like that, make the decision to be there for your child. You got me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, don't do this stupid stuff again. There's all of this. Well, you know, I was intoxicated. And if you have a problem with alcohol and it ends you up in front of me, then you need to get help. Go to an AA meeting. It's free. They're everywhere. You can just walk in and sit down and say, hi, my name is, and then fill in the blanks. You understand me? There's help out there that you can get that's free. But don't keep doing this, because you know every misdemeanor you commit, you coming right back to me, and I don't forget. Yeah, take that deep breath. Okay. So, like I said, on the first case is 12 months to serve 10 days, credit for time served. I'm sorry, 12 months to serve 30 days. Balance will be suspended as long as you do not go back to 5310 Old Dixie Road, the Dixie Package Store in Morrow. Is that Morrow? In Clayton County, Georgia. Then on the second case, counts 1, 3, and 4 will be null pros. Count 2 will be 12 months to serve 10 days, credit for time served, balance suspended as long as you have no new violations of the laws of the state of Georgia, and that will run concurrent with the case ending in, let's see. That will run concurrent with the case ending in 09985. All right, get it together, Mr. Bell. Your child deserves more than that.
Appreciate
All right.
it.
Excuse me, Judge. I just wanted to confirm for the case ending 09986, is that credit?
Mr. Pendleton, raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true. Okay, you can put your hand down. Mr. Pendleton, you're before the court on, I'm sorry. All right, so you're before the court on State of Georgia versus Anthony D. Pendleton. you were before this court on criminal trespass on the 22nd day of November 2022, sentenced to 12 months on probation. Your sentence was told you have 3 months and 24 days remaining. You failed to report on June 2nd, June 6th, June 7th, June 13th, and July 13th of 2023. You last reported on April 26th of 2023. You failed to complete community service. You had 40 hours of community service to complete, and you failed to pay your $690 in arrears. All right, so Mr. Pendleton, you're represented by Attorney Justin White. Mr. White, what do you have on behalf of Mr. Pendleton?
Your Honor, we're just asking that you accept probation's recommendation. Mr. Pendleton is stipulating to it.
All right, any concerns with respect to competency?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Austin?
Yes, Your Honor, the recommendation for probation is 30 days to serve and close this case.
Mr. White, do you have any idea why Mr. Pendleton was missing?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, I said, do you have any idea why Mr. Pendleton was missing?
I do not, Your Honor.
Oh, I wasn't from around here. And
It's still there. You can still talk.
oh, I wasn't from around here, and I was just scared to be walking the streets. I didn't have no family out here.
Where's your family, Mr. Pendleton?
Some in Mobile, some in Henry County.
Are you able to go back to your family?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that might be a good idea, is to go back to your family, get yourself straight until you can get, back on your feet.
Yes, ma'am.
Because when you get a probation sentence, the quickest way to get arrested is to not show up for your probation reports. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so defendant shall have 30 days revoked, and after service of 30 days, this case shall be closed.
All right, so I do 30 days here and I get to go home?
Yeah, I'll give you credit since the date of lockup also. All right, thank you. Who's next?
Weems, Your Honor.
Miss Harvey, I'll be signing as soon as I'm off the Zoom.
Okay, no problem, Judge.
All right, thank you. All right. Are we ready on Holland, or we have an announcement on Holland also?
Your Honor, that needs to be a mental health evaluation. I will get.
All right, so we'll reset for 4 weeks for Holland, and just get me the order if I haven't already had it.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Holland can go back. All right, and I'm ready on Weems.
Oh, and Your Honor, at the end of the calendar, I think we had told, I think you said to Ms. Val that we need to speak with you just briefly. If we could have a breakout room with myself and Ms. John B.A. just briefly.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Weems, raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yeah, ma'am.
All right, you can put your hand down. Mr. Weems, you're before the court on 2023 CR 09966, obstruction of a law enforcement officer and giving a false name, address, or date of birth. You're represented by attorney Chelsea Hahn, who's with you at the podium. Ms. Hahn, how does your client plead to the offenses before the court?
Nolo to both counts, Your Honor.
By entering a plea of nolo to counts 1 and 2, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things, sir?
He said yes, ma'am. Come closer.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. All right, factual basis recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. On October the 14th of 2023, an officer initiated a traffic stop of a gray Honda Accord for speeding, and the location was Jonesboro Road and North Lake Drive, where the incident occurred in Clayton County. At that time, there were several occupants in the vehicle, one of which was determined to be Mr. Weems. At the time, the officer had approached the vehicle. He did observe an odor of marijuana, asked if any of the passengers had marijuana. One person did indicate they did. At that time, the officer asked for identification of the other occupants in the vehicle. At that time, the defendant, Mr. Weems, gave the name of Askia Moses and date of birth of December the 16th, 1998. However, that information did not match when the officer made a check through GCIC, and it was later determined that the person at the time was the defendant, Mr. Weems. And he was taken into custody, Your Honor. The state is recommending 12 months to serve 30 days, the balance to be suspended for count 1, a $300 fine, a $300 fine to be suspended pending no new violations of the law. And for count 2, 12 months to serve 30 days, concurrent with count 1, the balance to be suspended, no new violations of the law.
All right, Ms. Hahn, anything on behalf of Weems?
No, Your Honor. We just ask that you accept the recommendation.
All right, so I'm going to accept your nolo pleas to counts 1 and 2, Mr. Weems. I'll sentence you to 12 months to serve 30 days. Balance will be suspended, and $300 fine to be suspended as long as you have no new violations of the laws of the state of Georgia, and 12 months to serve 30 days. Balance suspended as long as you have no new violations of the laws of the state of Georgia. And count 2 will run concurrent with count 1. And does he have credit for time served, or is he still serving?
Credit for time served, Your Honor.
All right, credit for time served. All right. Mr. Weems, how old are you, sir?
28.
All right, Mr. Weems, it's time for you to get your life straight, okay?
Yeah, ma'am.
I'm serious. You're too old for this, all right?
Thank you.
All right, you can go back with the sheriff's office. Think about how blessed you are to have a Thanksgiving to go to and not be in jail, and think about what you're gonna do with your life, okay?
All right, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna have a breakout room, I guess, with Ms. Janvier and Ms. Hahn, but everybody else is excused. I hope.
Thank you for joining me on this journey inside Judge Tammy's daily courtroom. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more fascinating insights into the world of law and justice by Judge Tammi. Thanks for watching, everyone.